The purpose of today is to do a little bit more explaining on ways to incorporate the Roxiva into your day-to-day and to do a Q&A as far as things that might be coming up so far with either putting it together or just getting started. What the hell is this thing? What's going on? Any question is valid here. Because this is such a new technology in general, even though it's been around for a while, it's new to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. And it's really important to figure out how we're going to classify, categorize, and incorporate it into what we do every day. It is very valuable to float spas, and I'll just quickly run through a list of benefits that I came up with that I'll share with you guys offline. I'll send all of these documents that I've created. The first thing it's going to do is diversify your offerings. Obviously, float is awesome. I float. It's great to float, but there are just some times when I don't have time to go and float. And if my float spa doesn't offer something else, I just don't go there. And so that's okay. When I go. But, banks learned this a long time ago that if you have a customer that has a checking account, they'll stick around for 3 years. If they have a checking account and a savings account, they'll stick around for 5 years. If they have a checking account, a savings account, and a mortgage, they stay around for a hell of a lot longer. And so this is the way, as a business, you can create loyalty and create people being attached to your business. Offer them something else. Show them a bunch of different ways they can achieve their goal of an altered state or an expanded state of consciousness. And they'll keep coming back and telling people about it. Competitive advantage. Certainly, offering the Roxiva gives you something that other float spas in your market may not have. It also gives you an opportunity to further deepen your offerings in terms of the way that you relate to your customers. You'll get to know them a lot better. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time they come in, they do their float, they leave, you ask them how it was, and that's great. You have a nice interaction. But if you've got the opportunity to offer a level of service that goes beyond that, and yes, you can just have them come in and do a session on the Roxiva, but it can become a more consultative thing. It can become a more explorative thing if you choose to make it so. So getting to know your customers better and having the competitive advantage is beneficial there. Increased revenue speaks for itself. More services equals more opportunities to bring money in. Extending customer visits. So a lot of folks are adding on the Roxiva prior to and after the float session in terms of using it to prime people for the float or to help them integrate afterwards. And that can be something that can be built into their time, basically creating more of a holistic experience in the spa so that people can now have the opportunity to get much more deep in their meditations. If they're starting to go in a direction with the floats that they really like, sometimes having another option for them to try out can help them deepen that practice. And I know people that combine practices as it is. They're breathing in the tank, they're doing meditation in the tank, they're doing other things. All of those things can be incorporated with the Roxiva as well. Let's see, brand enhancement, talked about that, customer retention, word of mouth. Word of mouth is probably one of the most powerful things that are happening that I'm finding with all of my clients, whether they be hypnotherapists, whether they be psychotherapists, whether they be holistic practitioners, acupuncturists, float spas. The wow factor of the experiences that can be had with the Roxiva can create a lot of word of mouth advertising that would have happened perhaps otherwise, but it's just another way for people to go to a dinner party and be like, wow, I just went to this float spa and I've been floating there for a while, but now they have this thing, and it like does this blinky thing, and I just go away and I feel incredible, like I slept for 2 hours when I came out of it. So, again, it's just another opportunity to give more services and more reasons for your clients to be talking with you.
Hey,
Collaboration.
Raphael.
Yes.
Hey, when you're talking earlier about like having them do it before or after a float, do you have any specific ones that you guys recommend that to help enhance the float?
Yeah. So anything that is going to bring the client into either delta or theta, and all of the sessions have a description as to the primary frequencies, but also I will be modifying the list that I have to be float spa specific, so that
Oh, nice.
you'll have a more of a reference too. Because what I really want to do is help you guys ease into this and really get the most out of the lamps for not just your clients but yourselves as well. I mean, you have to remember that, we forget this as business owners, but we're humans too, and we have needs too, and we need to optimally function as much as possible, especially because we've got to keep this ship afloat that provides services to all these people and jobs for all these people. And so the first client that should be working with the Roxiva every day, or at least every other day, is yourselves, the people that are going to be hosting the service. I mean, what is a float spa owner that doesn't float, right? So you can't really sell it with the passion and understand what it can do unless you use it on yourself. And so at the float conference, you all had an experience of the Roxiva, but the experience that I chose was more to illustrate the potential for colors and basically synesthesia and deep relaxation and the coordinated effects. I mean, some people did get more punchy sessions, and some people did get more deeply relaxing sessions based on the conversations that we had. But the important thing is that the range that is available is huge. Everything from the deepest delta, where we've got a session called Deep Delta Dive, and it basically puts the brain into a pure delta waves state. And humans usually, when they go to sleep at night during their first sleep cycle, because we sleep in 1.5 hour cycles, during their first sleep cycle, if they're able to enter delta, that is the only time that they can produce human growth hormone, which as we get older, we produce less and less and less of it. We have been able to show that the delta is consistent in the brain using EEG, that the client is held there. And while we cannot measure human growth hormone being secreted, we know that if you're in that state, you have a heck of a lot more chance of doing so. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
Brad, quick question.
Yeah.
So people with fibromyalgia, they've shown, have a really hard time. They can dip into delta and then just come right out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not producing human growth hormone. And it's just like a cascade of problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious if there's been if you've worked with any fibro patients or have any customers who have worked with fibro patients with any kind of feedback around that. Because
I don't know off the top of my head, but that's one of the questions we can pose in the forum, in the
okay.
Facebook group. And I can put that out there because I have access to everyone. And it would also be something very interesting for me to put out there in terms of my contacts in the local community, because I have a studio. I could do an informal study and have people send me clients that they have that have fibromyalgia. And
I have quite a few patients with it, so I'm excited to try this with them.
yeah, and I'd love to share
Me
data
too.
with you as well, because that deep delta dive session, now deep delta dive does not have a soundtrack because many people use deep delta dive to sleep. So I know I have no trouble sleeping. If sleeping were an Olympic event, I'd be a gold medalist. So I don't need to worry about it. But I have a lot of clients that have a lot of trouble sleeping. And then the older they get, they find that they're waking up in the middle of the night. And so I have clients that keep the lamp over their bed. I have a ton of clients that buy this for personal use, and they keep the lamp over their bed. And when they wake up at night, they flick the lamp on. We have a night mode. Night mode basically uses only the warm white LEDs. So there's no blue light coming out of the lamp, so that it allows the client to put themselves into Delta and lie there and just simply breathe, just follow the simple breath pattern. Many clients are able to fall back asleep that way, but even the ones that don't fall back to sleep get the benefits of what we call NSDR, which is non-sleep deep relaxation.
Now, Raphael, is there a minimum time, like for those Delta programs, that they have to use it? Like I'm thinking just like in my facility, like I would probably run 20 to 30 minute session before a float.
Yeah.
Would that be?
The Roxiva, and some of this might be elementary, but I'm going to go through the elementary stuff pretty quickly. But the Roxiva gives access to expanded and altered states of consciousness. It's a fusion of music and visuals and now vibration, which as everyone that got the vibratory components and saw my video saw, that the vibration is not a standard Roxiva product. It's something that I developed and added to it, although it is now being adopted and looked at by the company to see better ways to ultimately incorporate it and make it work better with the setups. And when I say better, I don't mean better vibration components. I mean better integration. So any benefits of that research will get passed on to all of you in new sessions and session upgrades that, again, are all free for life, along with software upgrades and firmware upgrades. The only thing that dimming it is going to do is reduce the intensity. The frequency entrainment will still occur. So generally what happens is they might experience a little bit of a dimming of the visuals, which, you know, the visuals are nice, but they're not the whole reason for the Roxiva. It's entrainment that we're looking for. It's getting into those brainwave states. And that occurs regardless of how many visuals are occurring. There are some people that get very little visuals. They have a condition, I forgot the name of it, that they just don't see visuals the same way as other people, but they still get a tremendous amount out of Roxiva because it's not about the light show. It's about the brainwave patterns that are induced. Yes, Jessica?
So what you see is individual?
What you see is going to be generally the patterns, because it's a fixed flickering sequence, are going to create a fractals and sacred geometries that are recognizable, and there's some commonality between viewers. However, once somebody really starts to deepen within the practice, those almost disappear, and there's kind of like this almost sky effect that comes in. And to get a little woo-woo, you know, when the third eye starts to pop open, you get that 360-degree panoramic vision, and it's like you're in a surround theater, and it's all around you. And that's when people can start actually lucid dreaming or hallucinating and just having visuals that aren't coming out of the lamp at all. The lamp has just got their brain now in this perfect sweet spot, and they're just experiencing whatever they need.
So how do I know? I've only done it one time. So, but I saw like crazy visuals. So how do I know what was the lamp and what wasn't?
Does it matter? And I'm not being sarcastic.
No, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I like to, like, I'm more scientific. So when I'm telling people about it, I would like to, like, what I'm describing might not be what they feel.
Right.
And I don't want them to be disappointed because
Yeah.
I saw so much.
So I guess that the best answer would be, if it looks very geometric in nature and kaleidoscopic and fractally, you could pretty much assume it's the lamp.
Okay.
But when you start getting into more ethereal visuals that are more like landscapes, or I mean, people see animals, they see their spirit animals,
Okay.
and they see dead relatives, and like there's all kinds of stuff that start showing up. And just like in the tank, you know, in the tank, it's like you can't tell people what they're going to see. No idea. But I mean, at least with the Roxiva, there is a starting point.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the idea is profound relaxation and release, which is the same as a float tank. You know, we're using the Roxiva as a gateway to trance, and we're using it to break stress patterns. And obviously, we do bill the Roxiva as a drug-free psychedelic experience, but, you know, just like with psychotherapists or anybody else, trip sitters or guides or shamans, just because the psychedelics are available, it doesn't mean it's always the best thing to just jump in and just launch into a psychedelic experience for a client. Some of these people have never experienced psychedelics, some have experienced psychedelics. So part of the intake, even though it's not on the form, could be having a conversation with them about what their expectation and experience level is. I like to start people slower and work them up. And so what I'm working on is a session progression that can be used as a guideline in terms of ways to build people up in the experience. I think the most important thing is to get them comfortable under the lamp and get them experiencing the you know, some visuals, but definitely the deep relaxation and deep trance and deep theta healing state that can occur. Once they're in that, I mean, everything else is just bonus. And so you can have psychedelic experiences, but you know, you don't want the client driving the bus. Like I had a couple of practitioners just put the entire list of sessions out on the table and say, here, pick one, you know. And yes, I mean, that is a way to communicate the different sessions that are available. However, without knowing your client, you know, do they tend towards anxiousness? Do they tend towards lethargy? You know, what direction are they normally heading in? And so without knowing that, you could have them choose a session that's very visual, very active, very stimulating, and push them further down the anxiety line than they already are, even though the idea and the intent is to have them have a peaceful experience or an opening experience or a trance-like experience. So it is very much like psychedelics with set and setting. You know, what is the mindset going in? And what is the setting that the session is going to occur in, and what is the session that you've selected? So one of my favorite sessions to start people with, and one that I used with all of you at one point or another, was No More Anxiety. No More Anxiety is a perfect blend of some really cool visuals, good vibration, good sound, and it comes in a variety of lengths. And I've actually had clients come in twice in a row and done No More Anxiety for them. And they've loved it, you know, different every time. And actually, in some cases, I encourage a progression where you run the same session a few times so that they get used to that session and they can go deeper within it. It's just like meditation. It's not like you say, I've tried this one type of meditation. Now I'm going to just try a totally different type of meditation next time. And the next time I'm going to try a totally different type of meditation. This is not a fireworks display, even though it's really freaking cool. Okay. It's something that we are giving to our clients as a gift, as a service to help them further their practice. If they're coming in and floating, they probably have a certain amount of stress in their life that they're dealing with. So automatically allowing them to just kind of do these really powerful psychedelic service sessions isn't necessarily the best idea. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do a no more anxiety session and then do a short psychedelic session for them afterwards. And you can do that. You can decide that you're going to say they're paying for a 30-minute block of time, or they're paying for a 45-minute block of time, or whatever working blocks you use. And you say, within that time, I am going to allow them to have, however, 2 different types of sessions. Okay. And it's as simple as setting a timer. I mean, you don't have to sit there and wait for the session to end. You could run the first session, set a timer, and then when that session ends, you can either see through the video or the monitor that it's over, or you could walk back in and then set them up for the second session. Those are generally in the trance category of sessions. The Khufu sessions are really good. Both King's Trance and Egyptian Pharaoh are good sessions. The Khufu sessions, the King's Trance one, is a little more mild on the visuals and psychedelic. So I usually start them with that. And I think they're both around 36 minutes, and there's an 18-minute version of each of them as well. So, with 150 plus sessions and counting, we won't be able to get through a lot of them today, but we'll definitely have these resources available to you. And I'll always be available via email, text, voice, whatever, to answer questions about sessions and planning and implementing experiences. So some of the sessions, like for example, the No More Anxiety does have an intro where you're doing a little breathing. There's also Breathe With Me, which is a breath work session that's on the lamp that has a guided breath work on it. And we're coming out with some new ones with new voices and new, some female voices, and just kind of broadening those offerings. So breath work is actually a very good thing to do with the lamp. I encourage my clients to focus on their breath. I encourage them to do box breathing. And for those of you, most of you probably know what it is, but it's a 4-count inhale, 4-count hold, 4-count exhale, 4-count hold, and then repeat. And so that's really a good practice. And it helps people ease into the lamp, the light as well, because for a lot of people, the brightness can be jarring at first. They've never had this stimulus so close to them for such a regular amount of time. So it does help them. I definitely want to mention that if we're at about 30 on the lamp, that's a good setting, which I mentioned earlier. I keep sunglasses around by the client, like inexpensive. I buy them 24 packs on Amazon. They're just like cheap Ray-Bans. And so they can put the glasses on and take them off if they want to, and to change the experience and lessen the intensity. Glasses work very well. And also the other thing that I tell all my clients is that they've got an off button right here. At any time, they can just cover their eyes and the experience will stop visually, which is the primary stimulus. And again, it doesn't happen often that people become overstimulated with the lamp if we're doing the right job, but if they do, they can stop it immediately. And it's nothing that's irreversible. Once you stop the light stimulus, whatever feelings they're having will go away very quickly. So now that being said, I want to address the questionnaire, because the questionnaire sounds scary. Okay, we do that intentionally for a couple of reasons. We make the questionnaire scary to have people understand that this is a serious experience and that they should not be coming in lightly to it, and that they should not be treating it as a way to further their trip if they want to come in on a substance, for example, or if they're really kind of just at the end of their rope and they've tried everything and they think this is going to fix them. And, you know, because they've read something on the internet about any number of products, not just ours, because there's a lot of junk science out there now. So we make sure that they're committed and that they're willing to answer the questions. And it's also a protection for you and a protection for us that, you know, everybody is being made aware of the potentialities. Now, the questionnaire is worded very carefully. Okay, it does say that if you answer yes to these questions, it might not be for you without a doctor's approval or further explanation. And that or further explanation is very important because 90% of the people I talk to now are on some sort of a medication. Okay. And if being on a medication for depression or anxiety or whatever number of reasons excluded you, or sleep or whatever, excluded you from having the Roxiva experience, you'd have an empty chair 90% of the time. So what good is investing in the device, right? So the further explanation is where the key comes in. You ask, what are you taking? And then generally, no matter what they say, what it means is lower the intensity of the lamp for their first sessions. Just make it less bright, because a lot of medications make people photosensitive. They make people just more sensitive to light in general, whether they're outside at the beach, whether they're at the park, or whether they're under the Roxiva. So just like you know that the darkness can be very soothing in the tank, and that, you know, light coming on in the tank prematurely would be jarring, same thing occurs with the Roxiva. Even though they know they're going to be having a visual experience with flickering light, if they're photosensitive, it might be more uncomfortable than they're able to deal with for a first time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can I say something? Something that I have noticed in our Roxiva setup, we just finished setting it up, yesterday or the day before. Our room is extremely dark for the reason it's also doubling as a chromotherapy and binaural beat room, kind of like a sensory input thing. So I'm noticing in the darker room, the intensity needs to be even lower. And I've done multiple sessions because the contrast between the just being a black room and
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I actually have to turn it down to like 22 is actually what I've been doing it on.
Yeah. And that's awesome. That's a great realization. And these are the things that we will learn using the lamp on ourselves primarily, that it is very important to work with the lamp, you know, not just to learn how it works and how it can be optimized for use with our clients. But again, I want to reiterate, this is a practice. This is something that will help you burst through boundaries personally, professionally, emotionally. There's nothing you cannot do, especially if you combine and alternate tank sessions with lamp sessions, or do the lamp before you go into the tank for yourself. Really work with it, because you're going to feel amazing. You're going to get so much more out of yourself throughout the day because your brain is going to be optimized. The increased blood flow that the Roxiva provides because of the visual entrainment is phenomenal, and it really creates a high neuroplastic state which endures. So if you need to get a bunch of stuff done, we have a session called Getting Things Done, which is a guided meditation to get things done. We've got Recharge My Day, which is basically a rest and recover session. We've got midday power nap. So all of these sessions are available to help us generate more revenue out of our business. Because if we're operating and our staff is operating at peak efficiency, even if in the beginning we're not doing a ton of lamp sessions on clients, we're getting benefits. So,
Raphael, question. Are there any of the contraindications which are absolutely like, no, you can't do it? Like if they've had seizures or epilepsy?
epilepsy, okay, pregnant, okay, and because the stimulation, you don't know if somebody gets really stimulated, you don't know if you're going to trigger something. So, and then the third one is 18 and younger. Well, 18, so under 18, only because they're minors, and it's just a sticky wicket in terms of, do they really have permission? Do they, you don't know if the parents want them doing it. Is it going to hurt them? No. But they've not really done testing on developing brains with it. It could turn them into super beings, but do we really want to be experimenting on kids? Probably a bad optic on that. So,
Nice. So, and then for all the other ones, it's just turn down the intensity.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Can I ask just a business question? What is everybody charging? Are people doing just $1 a minute, or what is the recommended? What are people
The
charging?
average is $1 a minute. You can pick a minimum that makes it worth your time to get them in there and set them up. And, if it's a 10-minute session, I'm not charging $10. You know what I mean? So also, what is your time worth? What is your staff's time worth? You've got a business that you're running that needs to generate X amount of revenue per service, per hour, per day. So don't be afraid to charge for it. There's a perception of value that goes with it. If you price it too low, people might not think it's any big deal either. So consider that.
I'm going to be running mine, Heather. My room is blocked off in 30-minute increments. So I'm going to charge probably $29.99 a session. And whether it's a 20-minute or 25-minute sessions, because I'm not going to take that full 30 because we use the room for other things also. But that's my intent.
Perfect.
I'm going to run it around $30 for a session.
Yeah,
We
that's
have
what
the same price.
Yeah, when we had it in our float center, it was just for convenience. We had it in 30-minute or 60-minute blocks that they could purchase or schedule, just to kind of keep it on a timeline, and they could do a 2 15s or a 20-minute.
Right.
You can play around with the times.
Great.
Can I ask one more question? So we wanted to do these at events because that's how you got me. So when you're at an event, do you recommend, now you did your sessions for free, but you were selling the machine. Has anybody else thought about, taking these to events? Are you going to charge at the event, or are you going to do it just for free to pull people in? Any thoughts there?
Yes to both. So I have many hats that I wear. Okay. So I am the North American importer and distributor from Roxiva. So I am always out there looking for clients, and I've teamed up with gong bath practitioners, yoga studios, and we have psychedelic Sundays at yoga studios, and we have I bring a speaker and a subwoofer out, and we'll use our sound, or we'll do it with the gongs for the sound, or drumming. And we charge anywhere from $40 to $60 for the experience, for a 2-hour experience. And you can get 8 people comfortably under the lamp, and probably squeeze more if you needed to. I've also experienced having the lamp facing a group of people, and you might want to play with this, where you could actually shine the lamp up to 25, 50 feet away at some of the higher intensity settings, and they can all be sitting there in, yoga position, or sitting on chairs in a hotel room, and get an experience as well. So it's really a matter of playing with it. When I go to shows, like for example, the biggest show in California, the Conscious Life Expo, which gets 20,000 people go through, I charge $20 for a 10-minute session, because these people are there for experiences. And so many shows I charge at. And so you can go to local, and again, if you're trying to promote your business, you can do it for free. You could do it at a reduced price, or you could do it where they pay for this and then they get a credit to come into your place and get another session or a float, or whatever. So, you know, the idea is get into your communities. You can't pull a float tank out to a farmer's market, but you can certainly hire somebody to go there. And I tell you, farmers markets are incredible. The people you get at farmers markets are like, they're tuned in, they want to be healthy, they care about themselves, their health, their well-being, their families. They're usually part of other communities and groups. They talk to each other. So it's a great opportunity. Jessica, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, on going along with that, we had gotten the extra stuff that you sent, and it included the splitter, you know, for the headphones. And I was wondering, would you be able to put a splitter for multiple headphones so that I know they wouldn't feel the vibrations because you need multiple ones of those, but could we disconnect it from the vibrations and put in a multi splitter and put lots of headphones into that, and they would lay
Yes.
down like I saw on your video?
Yes, they have. So, but for that, you would want to get a, it's one of my clients, I forgot who did it, sent me a link and I'll send it to you. It's a small little box that's an amplifier, so that you
Yeah.
can plug 4 headphones into it, and you can daisy chain those. So you can just keep
Okay.
plugging in extensions and plugging in headphones, and as long as they're amplified, you're not going to lose sound quality. If you want to go high end, there is a product called Silent Disco. And Silent Disco, and there's a bunch of knockoff products that you can find now that are less expensive. But Silent Disco is Bluetooth headphones that have a transmitter that can plug into any audio source. And the more sophisticated ones have 3 separate channels of audio. And my goal and dream is to get this set up and have 3 separate audio tracks playing at the same time that they can switch between and get different experiences of the light based on the music that's coming in. Because there's a very big synesthesia component to the light, that different types of music can create different experiences. We've choreographed our music to maximize the experience, but in a group setting without vibration, you can play with it and use different soundtracks and create different types of experience. Some people may just not like the music. They want to hear something different. So giving them choices can work. All right. Any questions?
Are there different sessions on the device than from what's listed on in the VIP section of the website, or is it
All
one for
of the
one?
standard sessions are the same. There are some sessions that are in different lengths, that have been created in different languages, but most of the ones that are most used and called for are already on the lamp. So there's only, most of the ones that are different are just language variations. Like
And I
French.
remember correctly, there's a way on the lamp to like move certain sessions into a folder, like if you just wanted to use 5 or 6 options.
So
that way you're not trying
basically,
to
with
the whole menu.
with the Roxiva menu system, you've got 3 folders: folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, and generally I use those folders to drop sessions into that I use frequently or like for whatever reason. So what I do is folder 1 I use for psychedelic visual sessions, folder 2 I use for relaxation trance, and folder 3 I use for special purpose sessions. Okay, and it's very simple to put a session into a folder. You just go to that session, and when you're in that session's menu, you scroll down until you see add to favorites, highlight that, and now you get the option to add that session to any one of those 3 folders.
And then are we able to manually change the duration of a session?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I mean, that may come at some point, but right now, changing the duration of a session can be done by using the repeat function. So some of the shorter sessions, you can actually repeat them once or twice or 3 times. So repeat 1 does not mean repeat once. It means it's going to play once. Repeat 1, to repeat it once, you have to press 2. just to make. And I'll double check that that's still that way because they were thinking about changing it. So I'll see if the most current software version still operates that way. Jeremy, I saw you liking some of what you're hearing there. If I could call you out for a moment, you've had a lamp for a long time and only just switched to Roxiva. You had a Pandora Star. Would you talk to the group a little bit about what your experience has been?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. Yeah, Pandora Star was great, but we always had to run the audio separate. So just from an operational standpoint, the Roxiva is just so much simpler. I think there's a wider range with the Roxiva. I was commenting here. I really liked the guided breath work in one of the sessions. I don't remember the name of it, but it started out with some guided breath work and then it faded out, which
That's
I
No
thought was
More
perfect.
Anxiety.
Okay, there you go.
That's
It was
the one I
fantastic.
recommended to everybody earlier.
Yeah, loved that session. And yeah, for us, we've got transducers going onto a chair, and it just makes that operation so much easier, so much simpler. I also, here's a tip. You may have told me this. I can't remember, but I found a little audio dial on Amazon. I think it was like $10.
Yeah.
And so if you go, I've got the splitter out to an amplifier and then one going into that audio dial and then going into the headphones, and I put it on the armrest of the chair. So if they want to change the volume in the headphones, there's a little dial there which is easy to feel, and they can alter the audio level on their own versus us trying to set it up before the session. So that's a cheap upgrade.
That's standard part of the kit now. I did incorporate that for everybody especially because you want to, and this is important, within settings, you want to boost the volume, the volume of the lamp to 120, the maximum, so that you get the maximum vibration out of the vibration puck. So definitely do that. Go into settings. It's in the main menu, and then just scroll down and there'll be audio level, and you'll be able to change the audio level. And within settings, you can also change the light level, the intensity, the baseline intensity. And if you boost the audio all the way up, you'll get the most vibration. And then you can use that little dial to dial down the power on the headphones, because it will be loud in the headphones.
Or if you're deaf like me, it's just right.
Yeah. I'd like to talk a little bit about marketing. Okay, I had a whole other document here that I'll share with you guys. I might actually screen share this with you if I can find it. Okay, so I am going to screen share for a minute. How are we doing for time, by the way? We're at 4:08. I could keep going. I'm all about you guys learning as much as you can and providing whatever you need. So if you need to drop off, I understand. The recording will be available, but I'll just keep going. I'll keep going till 4:30.
Yep, that works.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, so let's see. Share screen. Share. Okay. Can everybody see this? 3 stages of lamp use. All right. Let's see if I can optimize this. I was going to get really fancy and do a PowerPoint, but I guess I didn't do a light session early enough and wasn't able to get it together. So you're going to get the text version this time. So very important. We want to make sure that we know this is a wellness device and not a medical one. I know you guys are used to talking about tanks in a certain way. I know that there's certain languaging around the tanks that you have to use. We take it a little step further, and we basically just have the language be all about supporting the brain's natural and the body's natural ability to heal. We are a self-healing system. just like if you hydrate properly, just like if you eat well, just like if you get enough sleep, you're supporting your body and your brain's ability to heal. We position the lamp the same way. It's a tool that helps to achieve this goal, okay? So the first application is passive use, basically in training the brain, promoting relaxation. And this is, most people never go any farther than this. They just use the lamp passively and they have really powerful experiences. They just lie under the lamp, let it do its thing. They surrender into the light and they get all the benefits, okay? The next step from there is active use. This is where people are now using things like breath work, guided hypnosis, and guided audio tracks. We don't want to use binaural beats, okay? Binaural beats are going to clash. And they'll most likely be canceled out by the lamp anyway, because the visual system is so much more powerful than the auditory system. But if you're trying to entrain the brain to alpha or theta, and even if you've got theta beats coming in the headphones on binaural, if they're not the exact same frequency and they're phase locked, and when I say phase locked, I mean you've got a sine wave that creates a sound, okay? If you have two sine waves going together, they look like one sine wave. You can't see the second one. If you've got two sine waves that are out of phase, now that you could see one trailing the other, or they may like totally cross over. When that happens, you're getting a cancel out effect. You're losing the benefit of the entrainment. So even if a binaural beat isn't strong enough to wipe out the visual entrainment, if you've got a frequency that's not phase locked with the visual, like they are in our choreograph sessions, then you're going to be lessening the effect of the lamp. So no binaural beats with visual entrainment, okay? However, there are some really good guided hypnosis sessions. There's some really good, like I love, a lot of the Joe Dispenza stuff, okay? That you've got a powerful teacher that you want to hear their message. And you can, as a commercial enterprise, I don't know what the legality is of using a Joe Dispenza meditation with your service that a client is paying for. So we'll have to look into that, okay? But there are guided meditations that you can create and share. I've done a few myself that I can share with you, that I know that you wouldn't run into licensing problems with, but it's very powerful to do a guided journey or a guided meditation or a guided hypnosis under the lamp, okay? And that is another more active use of the lamp. Breath work, mantras.
Raph, have you ever heard of anybody doing like chanting sessions, group chanting sessions with the light? Because,
This is exactly what I'm talking about, whether it's
Yeah.
individual or group. Absolutely.
yeah, like Nam
Absolutely.
Myoho Renge
When
Kyo.
you
Yeah.
get that phase lock of the energies of human beings in training to the same brainwave frequency, and then making the oral auditory sounds together, you're opening such a powerful healing portal that it's going to be out of this world. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So again, set and setting is within your control. You can play with this as much as you want within your experience. Kelly said earlier that they've got a room that has very, very, very low light. Okay. That's setting. Okay. If you've got a very, very low light room available, or you can create that, it's definitely going to make the visuals more powerful. And you can run the lamp at a lower intensity in a room like that, which even though the LEDs are super, super durable, I mean, these things last decades, okay? The lower intensity you run the lamp at, the even longer life you're going to get out of. So you can bear that in mind for set and setting, okay? As a portal to other states, okay? Out of body experiences, astral travel, lucid dreaming. There are a lot of YouTube videos that are available to you and to the clients. Now, one of the things that you can have the client do is you can have the client bring in their phone and their headphones after they've experienced the Roxiva as a traditional setup, okay? But you can bring in their headphones and their AirPods, whatever they have. And if they have, for example, a lucid dreaming sequence that they really love to do, or an out-of-body experience that they love to do, or an astral travel experience they really love to do, you can support that experience with a theta or a gamma session, and just run a theta and gamma with no audio, and just give them the visual entrainment to give them a vehicle to go further into that practice. And if they get where they want to go quicker, you're going to have a line out the door of people that want to duplicate what that person just had. I just noticed in this document that there's the word bullshit in there. I didn't catch bullshit. There it is. Wow. All right. But it's apt because it's true. Some of the stories I've heard of what people have experienced under the lamp are pretty unbelievable. Not if you know what's going on, but to the average person, they would be unbelievable.
Have you ever had anybody experience positive residual side effects from the light, like positive ocular side effects, or a tightening of skin or reduction of headaches?
So anecdotally, and in a complete non-science answer to your question, so a blood flow effect, which improves because vascular vessels close to the surface, blood's flowing through them. If you get light to that blood, more oxygenation can occur, because very similar to the effects of photosynthesis, conversion of energy, light turns into different types of energy when it hits different surfaces. So theoretically, it is possible that you could get positive effects, or at least not negative effects, because of the, people say, oh, is it bad for me to be under the light? Because of the light coming at my eyes. And so they have not been able to show any detrimental effects to the eyes, but they've neither proved that there's a guaranteed post-positive effect to either skin or eyes or anything like that. But as an extension of improved blood flow, there are some things that could be guessed at as to what could occur. It's just that nobody's really studied it yet.
Because I've only been playing with it for a couple of days now, and I've noticed some really positive effects and differences.
Great. And now that you're tuned into that, perhaps you'll have some clients that'll mention it to you, or you could ask. That'd be great. I'd love to hear more about that. All right. So talked about that, journey of transformation and innovation. And I'm going to send this out to you as soon as I clean it up a little bit more within the next day, along with a link to the video from today. All right, package sessions. One of the things that you can do, just like you do with floating, is tell folks that the benefits of this are just like the benefits of meditation. You will get benefits the first time, but the benefits increase the more you do it. So if you're thinking about making this a part of your practice, whether it be for cognitive benefit or for deepening your meditation. We didn't even talk about cognitive benefits. You've all seen the science of flickering light for dementia and Alzheimer's, and helping people with those situations. So you can't make that claim, but you can say and point people to a study, which they're out there, that flickering light does help with cognitive processing. And I could share those studies. I think I already have shared those studies with you as part of the other packages, but if anybody needs it again, let me know.
Yeah, if you
Okay?
could send that out again, Raphael, the
Yeah.
studies. I don't recall seeing that, but it may have been in there.
Mhm. Making a note right now. It's not specific to us. It talks about flickering light. So, okay. And then we talked about session pricing already. This goes through an example. This is for, I use this to help train my people because one of the benefits of being a Roxiva light bearer is that you are also now a Roxiva sales partner. Okay. Whether you knew it or not, you are. So welcome. And so any of your clients, if they decide, I love this thing so much, I have to have one, you can sell them one. Okay. Now we've made it really easy to do that. Basically, all you do is just send us their email or you can get on a Zoom call with us or whatever. We will do all the work and we will do all the training, the shipping, we'll honor the 30-day return policy. So you don't have to worry about anything. And for every lamp that you sell, you get $1,500. So you'll get compensated for the loss of that client, at least for that service. Because otherwise, what's the point of allowing them to buy one if you're just going to lose a client, right? So
Very true.
Yeah. But anyway, $5,500 for the lamp, decides to charge $125 for a session. Lamp is paid for in 44 sessions. I get $90 for a session. It's just under, it's about 72 minutes. It's not 90 minutes, in between 60 and 90 minutes. And I do a little bit of energy work with it. But a lot of the people that buy lamps are energy practitioners. And I've got people getting $200 a session, $250 a session with the lamp. But they're energy practitioners and they're bringing a little more to the experience because some of these people are psychic and they're getting a reading for the client while they're getting their session. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And depending on who else works with you in your float spa, in your studio, that is definitely something that you could do, is pair it with the modalities and charge more for it. We talked about making claims, relief is a word we don't want, that sort of thing. Again, this will be in there.
And Raph,
Go. Yep.
I forget, sorry if I missed this when I stepped away. Do you have verbiage for a consent form?
We
don't have to
actually
reinvent
have
the wheel?
a fully done consent form on the VIP site under documentation.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
And it's an 8-page document actually that goes into the reasoning for each question. So all of those things that I said about photosensitivity of medications, it goes deeper into that as well, so that you can really educate yourself and your staff as to why we're saying what we're saying about contraindications or further explanation.
You wouldn't,
and such.
but just for brevity's sake, would you not include that in a short intake for someone to just come in like, are you on medications? Are you on these medications? Do you have epilepsy? Are you into your second or third trimester? Like, is it just kind of more short for the client themselves? Or?
Actually, I always do the full one.
Oh, okay.
I don't do,
okay.
It's not 8 pages, it's only 1 page, but 8 pages, 7 of them are for you to understand what's on the 8th page.
Okay, that's what, okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to say one more thing. We're already at 4:33. You're going to have other people come into your spa, and they may have had another light experience. Probably the one you'll hear about the most is either Pandora Star or Lucia. We are superior to both those lamps. because of the fact that we have the most light sources, so we can provide the most complex patterns and modulation of brain waves, because more is better when it comes to the light patterns in terms of complexity and what it creates in the brain. We also have the only choreographed sound and light. Nobody else has that, even though they say they have sound and vibration and light. It's all from an external source, which is not choreographed. Jeremy was speaking to this. They had to try to find music and then use external music, and it didn't ever work as well as the Roxiva. And then the only thing you ever might hear is that, well, the Lucia has the halogen bulb in the middle, and that is their patent, and like they're really better because of that, because that's their party line and that's what they tell everybody. And back in 2009, before there were high quality warm white LEDs, that was true, that you could not get a warm glow out of one of these lamps that used only blue light LEDs, okay? But because we have an equal number of 8 cool white and 8 warm white LEDs, now we can get that beautiful warm glow that they're talking about with the halogen that can soften the session and can create certain effects, and it can give us our night mode capability. So that's really important. Also, that halogen, the LEDs don't have to be replaced like the halogen bulb. So no longer is that halogen bulb a benefit of the Lucia, because now it is the same experience is possible, and a better experience is possible using warm white LEDs. I mean, you see the light bulbs now that they have in Home Depot, they're LEDs, but they look like those old-fashioned vintage bulbs, and they got that warm yellow, orange glow if you want it for nighttime. There's a reason why that's good. So that's what they were talking about, the halogen, full spectrum, warmer than the LEDs, but that's not a valid point any longer. All right. Did I like completely wear you guys out or what?
No, this was excellent and so thorough.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
Oh, thanks for the time, Raphael. Really
What's
helpful.
that?
It's really helpful.
I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's important for me to be sure that all of you get the best experience with this. So this is just the beginning of a journey we're all on together. You can always access me, access each other, use the VIP Facebook group, post questions in there. It's a very, vibrant community. And so, just keep moving forward, and we'll see you at the upcoming, hopefully, flow conferences. And yeah, anytime, reach out.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay. Bye.